Choosing the correct or best oil for your C6 Corvette could be just as simple as reading the top of the engine and buying that Mobil 1 oil. But what if you are more street performance minded? Maybe you heavily modified that C6. You might look at Amsoil or Driven street performance oils. If your C6 Corvette was heavily modified like this guy, sorry, this video will not touch on that topic. Hello, and welcome to Road Odyssey. I am Burke. Hope you're having a nice day. Please subscribe. I would appreciate that very much. Topic is motor oil. Now, motor oil for most cars is whatever. Whatever they're called for, get it and be done with it. Sports cars tend to need a little bit higher quality oils. And in that regard, there is a very large group of oils that are all very good. Going one step above that, so my 2005 C6 Corvette, like maybe some of the Mustangs and Dodges and all that, it's going to need a little bit better oil, not just a regular oil, not just a good, decent performance oil. It needs a really good street performance oil. And so that's what I want to talk about, and the little bit of research that I've done, because I'm no authority. I have looked for authority businesses and input from those that really know their stuff, and that's what I want to present to y'all in this video. So let's get on with it. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just repeating what I've been told and investigated. Here's my 2005 C6 Corvette that I've taken to 21st Century Muscle Car in North Dallas, and it has had a kind of a mid-range cam, cold air intake, extensive exhaust, tuning, dyno, all that. So this car does need a better street performance oil. One thing to caution y'all about: if you've got a certain year car that may not be like others, be sure and check that oil filter for the right type. Now, in my case, a 2005 Corvette LS2 engine, but it is not going to have the same oil filter as the newer C6s. It still has a regular non-relief valve oil filter. Most everybody tells me Wix is the best, and so this is what I get for my C6. Let's begin looking at motor oils relative to tiers of interest. Regular run-of-the-mill cars, SUVs, trucks, whatnot, that are used just on a daily basis, regular use, are going to use typical oils. Just follow the manual's guidelines. Sports cars and muscle cars, or maybe even trucks that are, being used more aggressively, you're going to want a higher quality oil, often focusing on the cleaning and other standards of the industry. Street performance cars, anything that has an engine that's been modified, that's going to be operating at higher revs, RPMs, generating a lot more heat, friction, and foam, things like that, are really going to need special formulations in terms of additives and protection. I just gave you a little bit of an answer as to why use the more expensive street performance motor oil, even if changing the oil prematurely. All right, so if your car is modified, tuned beyond normal specifications, then the engine may require better protection. The car's engine is operating at a higher level of performance. Therefore, it's wise to provide better performance oil.
thus enabling lower friction, which equals lower temperature, less oil consumption burning off, and less foaming. Now, it's up to you, the individual, perhaps with good guidance, to decide to what extent of a better quality oil or street performance oil is required to protect your overall investment in the car of question. Furthermore, this should be a consideration when increasing the engine's performance for recreational or street performance. So when you go out and you're at a car mod shop and you're having that engine completely modified, you need to decide at that time, how high is your level of modification, and what about oil filters, oil, tires, all kinds of stuff that's going to be incorporated in that decision. As I mentioned before, I used 21st Century Muscle Cars in North Dallas to make the modifications to my engine. They use driven racing oil. So I went out to Summit and found their racing oil change kit, about 80 bucks. And here's just a couple of shots of getting that purchased. So just right at $100 to get it delivered to my house. And here's the box that it came in. Isn't that interesting? Unboxing the box, there's the box of the actual items inside. And here are the bottles, and there you see driven LS30, 5W30, and there is the Wix 51042 XP, very nice oil filter. So that works very well for these earlier C6s. So here's the complete, set right here. Also out more in my area is LG Motorsport. I could go there as well. They do top-end high-performance modifications to Corvettes as well. Now, LG Motorsport, I do like their webpage. Wonder why? They do sell a variety of oils, and of those varieties, they do sell Redline. And here's one bottle of Redline is just at $13. So that's pretty closely priced to the driven LS30. And you can get kits for your car as well. LG Motorsports also sells the same driven LS30 kit for the C6s. And their price is very good. If you try going out to the driven webpage, you can order the LS30 kit, but it's still going to cost you a little bit more than other sources. I could stop here, but let's beat that dead dog further. From the LS1 Tech forum, let me just steal, plagiarize, and butcher some really good comments from this. From this forum, everybody agreed Mobile One or anything like it was perfectly great for these early LS engines. So for the average user that does an oil and filter change at 3,000 to 5,000 miles, there is really no advantage to using a highly rated, more expensive oil. Comparatively, driven is more expensive. Yet it's more applicable for the street performance, style driving, and those engine modifications. It's going to have more of your proper additives. It's going to have more of the proper zinc, which is really the carrier for the phosphates that make that engine or the engine parts slicker. There's going to be less of the detergents, and therefore this is why there is greater R&D costs that are embedded into the price of these oils. Going back to the Mobile One, its development was more concerned with meeting the API standards, possibly working with budget constraints limited to the typical across-the-board requirements for most engines and most driving habits. For driven oils or anything at this actual tier, the R&D was more application specific and there were fewer budget constraints. A different business model for different market. Now there's also Amsoil, very, very high up on the list of great oils. Plus I like their website. Wonder why? Now they have at least 3 upper tier performance oils. At the top is Signature, and then there's the XL. And you'll see the pricing is in the same neighborhood as Driven. There is a ton of information on Amsoil's performance oils. They are extremely good oils, and they are up there with Driven and possibly some others. But let's move on. Quickly, let's get back to this LS1 tech and let me butcher some more of my plagiarism. So, companies like Mobil 1, Castrol, and Pennzoil have very different specs to meet compared to the boutique oils. That's the Driven and high-quality Amsoils. Their formulators are given a budget with a strict set of API standards to meet. They are limited in the use of anti-wear friction modifiers and EP additives, as most of them are restricted by API, ILSAC, either directly with phosphorus limitations or indirectly with sulfated ash limits. It went on to say the boutique oils like Amsoil, Driven, Redline, and so on have less restrictive guidelines and budgets. They are given an application and formulate the best oil they can for that application. Just the type of ZDDP used in Driven LS30 is more expensive than Mobil 1's entire Infinium additive package. So these boutique oils are specific to anybody who does street performance driving.
All right, that'll do it for this video. Thank you very much. Please subscribe. I would appreciate that very much. So I hope this was informative. Maybe it supports some of your own thoughts about the oil that you use for your Corvette or performance street car. So anyway, I hope y'all have a fantastic day. Relax, take it easy, and I will see you later. Bye.